Good evening. Good afternoon for you folks, probably. Gonna let people get a chance to show up. This is my, you can't really see it, and I'm not gonna show it to everybody, but my humble abode in Montenegro. I'm in a little uh, hamlet, I guess. I don't know. It's called Virok. It's right by Savinkuk ski mountain. If it was daytime here, you could see the mountain over my shoulder, um, and the ski lift that goes up to the top, which is pretty cool. Uh, it costs $10 to get up and down all day long. So, pretty cool spot. Um, I guess, you know, this is kind of a once in a lifetime type trip. Hoping to make it more than once in a lifetime, but wanted to share some of the things that I've done, partly so that I can remember it and hopefully be able to do it again. And also, um, you know, I think that part of what I can do is answer questions that you folks have about how you might be able to do something like this as well. And so, um, I know I'm in Montenegro, and I said I would talk about Montenegro, but I've also got to talk about the rest of the trip, which planning for this trip started about, let's see, what's this, July? So I think maybe last October, November, started planning this trip. So, and, had started saving for it even before planning it. So, um, excited to actually be here doing it, and everything has been amazing. So I guess to start off, my first thing was getting to Turkey and why I went to Turkey and what I did in Turkey, etc. So I actually had a really amazing business class flight on Turkish Airlines to get to Izmir, Turkey. Um, It cost me a couple $100 and a whole bunch of points that I was able to get through a sign up bonus. So really didn't cost me all that much. And I'm working on another sign up bonus now for a return trip. And the reason for that is to go to the dentist. I know that I've had some dental concerns for about 10 years now. And really just thought it was something that there was nothing that I could do about it. So the reason that I didn't think there was anything I could do about it is, and by the way, prices have gone down on what I've kind of needed to have done over the past 10 years. But, the approximate cost for what I'm getting done if I were doing it in the United States and Canada, um, around $20,000. So, um, and that it's not as extensive as it sounds, but it's enough that I certainly can't do $20,000 worth of dental work. So, what it's going to end up costing me is flights to Turkey twice. So, whatever I can get that for, which I'm planning on. For my next trip, I'm going to fly economy and I'm going to use points to cover round trip. So all it will cost me is the fees and whatever taxes or otherwise get piled in there. So um, that is the plan there. So that's really not an appreciable cost. And then let's see. So we got the flight, and then okay. So you would think, okay, now I've got to find a place to stay, right? Well, not a big deal because I it's wrapped into the cost of the dentist. The dentist has arranged for a place to stay. I turned out to have a halfway decent hotel. I'd say above average for what I would expect in Izmir, Turkey. And it was 2 blocks away from the dental clinic. So my experience was I had a nice flight overnight to Turkey. I got to Turkey pretty late at night. Gosh, it must have been, it was at least 10 o'clock, if not, I think it was closer to midnight, honestly. And because I think I had a short delay. And got picked up in a nice limo van, um, and that was courtesy of the dentist, and got taken to my hotel that was paid and arranged through the dentist. And so really kind of a painless experience as far as, I contacted them, really not with enough notice that I should have given, but I contacted them and I said, here's what I think I need. Here's a copy of my x-rays. Here's, pictures of my teeth. And they said, oh yeah, we can do that. They had the same person who contacted me that day met me the first day that I showed up to the clinic, and was there through the whole process to kind of act as an interpreter, and just kind of help facilitate the process. So that was pretty cool. Um, so yeah, basically went to the hotel next day. They said, okay, come in at such and such time. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, Went in and they had another look at all my stuff. And I know that sometimes you get upsold on things, and it's like, it's like when you take your car to the mechanic and you think that you're getting an oil change, and you end up, you know, having to get, ball joints and whatever else. And, it ends up costing a whole lot more than what you expect, right? Well, I had originally gone thinking I'm going to get, maybe 3 implants, which, not unsubstantial, and a couple crowns. Well, I get there and the dentist starts, doing the exam, which that's what you would hope a dentist would do, right? Rather than just take my word for it. And he says, uh, you got these other teeth that are like they've got very old fillings in them, and they're, large fillings. So maybe they're 10 or 15 years old, which I can tell you that they're at least that old. And he said, so the best thing to do with these is you could either try to replace the fillings, or you could do crowns. And of course, I could do that at home. And that, he wasn't trying to push on me to do anything, but he said, we can do crowns, and we'll just redo your treatment plan. And they redid the treatment plan right then, and actually started prepping the crowns that afternoon. And, you know, just for comparison for cost, um, an average crown in the US, what do you think? I don't know. What have any of you paid for a crown? Maybe $1,200, at least 800. You're looking at least 800. That's probably a very old number. It's probably at least 1,200 per tooth, right? So mine were for 4 crowns, $600, 150 per crown. So, and I gotta tell you, they look great. They took a little bit of getting used to, just adjusting to having something different in my mouth, as far as what the architecture of my teeth was, that they were slightly different. But now I'm getting used to it, and I am happy. Yeah. So I'll have, once I get my implants finished, um, I'll have all that set. And so I think my full cost is including 10 nights. So the way that they work it for having implants, etc., is my first trip was 4 nights in the hotel, which is again wrapped into the cost. And then the second trip to get the actual crowns that go on top of the implants made, that part is a 6 day trip, or 6 night trip rather. So maybe travel on either end of that. Plus, maybe I'll see a dentist on one of those days. Anywho, that's 6 days in the hotel. That's wrapped into the cost. That with 3 implants, all the crowns, it's going to be like $3,700, which is not insignificant, but that's less than what it would cost to get one implant in the US. So I'm able to get all of that done. And by using the credit card points and working on getting the sign up bonus for that, and then by just shopping around and figuring out that I could get great care in It'sRahr, Turkey, and be able to afford it. That's just something that I didn't think I would ever be able to do. So here we are. So anyway, that was the first part of the trip. The only disappointment was that I wasn't able to eat more solid foods, because the one solid meal I got before I started getting the actual dental work done cost me about $2 American, which is, it was 50 lira, 50 Turkish lira. At the time, $1 was maybe 23 or 24 lira. Now it's up to 27 lira. Their currency is not doing great, which I hope that they figure out what they need to with their economy. But as far as if you're an American and you're going to go spend money there, it's going to be good for you. So there are lots of cool things. I'd lost my sandals in the airport on my way there, my hiking sandals, so I had to get some new hiking shoes, and I think it was $130 American. So for a really nice pair of shoes that I probably would not have bought if I was here. Hit them up. No, Montenegro is in Montenegro as a country. It is not a U.S. state. It is not in the United States. I am in the country Montenegro. So it has borders with Croatia and Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Serbia. So it used to be part of Yugoslavia for quite a while. So has a little bit of coast on the Adriatic Sea, but I am up in the mountains. So that was, anyway, so that was the dental portion of my trip, which was kind of the thing that got me into Europe. And then I figure, if you're here, the flight can be the major expense. And I learned from my friend Mark Sigalski and Rhonda Sigalski that slow travel, which is what I'm currently doing, can be really affordable. So this is not as affordable as some of the other places, accommodations that I'd looked at earlier on. But once you get past Christmas, all the prices start to shoot up, and I procrastinated a little bit booking this and was able to find this amazing cabin with a mountain in the backyard for $1,700 for a full month. And like I said, that's probably what it would cost for a week on Keuka Lake. So very affordable. My meals, very affordable, and it's amazing food. And there's lots of it. And, you're looking at $7 for breakfast, 15 or 20 for dinner. I spent 24 today for dinner because I I went and hiked up a mountain and dehydrated myself a bit because I didn't bring enough water, and so and I hadn't had any uh, big meals earlier in the day. So to have dinner, I had a nice uh, traditional Montenegrin meal with big bottle of sparkling water, big mug of a half liter of beer, local Montenegrin beer, and some Turkish coffee and dessert, and it was all $24. So um, very affordable place to visit. If you look at the uh, public transit, 3 miles from the nearest town to where I am, taxi, you're looking at $5 to $8, depending on the time. To get from the capital, which is where the airport is in Podgorica, you're looking at 9 to 12 euro each way on the bus, which not the most comfortable experience. It's not a luxury bus, but it is reliable. Um, if you want to splurge and get a taxi, or if you've got several people, maybe it makes sense to get a taxi. Uh, it's about $100 in a taxi to go 2.5 hours from the airport. So very affordable. Um, so that's kind of, it makes sense to come visit a place like this. And what I'll say is, I think today might have been my first conversation, other than when my girlfriend came for a couple weeks. Today might have been my first other conversation with an American up on top of the mountain. This place is not flooded with Americans. It is a lot of people from Montenegro are visiting. A lot of people from Serbia are visiting. You really do get people from a variety of European countries here, but it's it's just not flooded with tourists. It is a lot of tourists, but it's not a lot of tourists. Now, if you go to the coast, Budva, or um, I want to say Kotor, like all those places, and I've heard Croatia as well, all along the coast, is just packed with people right now. So that's not what I was looking for in a trip. And when Irene and I were kind of discussing where we would want to go, we wanted to have access to a restaurant, a grocery store, but without being someplace where we're just in a swarm of people, and or in a city or even a large town. We wanted to be someplace small. So this has kind of fit that bill. Um, and the mountains are here are amazing. I mean, there's still, if I wish I could show you again, go back to my earlier video, but um, if you hop up on the mountain, you'll see that there's still snow up there. It's quite high, and beautiful views, beautiful place. Um, Lots of really cool experiences that you can do here too. So um, hiking would be the obvious one, and there's been plenty of that. If you check out the Black Lake, if you check out um, even just going up the ski lift here, takes you up near the top of Savinkuk, and then you can get the rest of the way up there um, by hiking, obviously. You can hike all these different trails, and that's fun. I did some horseback riding this week. I haven't done that since I was a kid, but for $60, I was able to do a 3 hour tour with all these beautiful views all around the area. So that's something that at home you're looking at $90 an hour for 1 hour. So not something that I'm able to do every day. Um, the white water rafting. So the the second deepest canyon in the world and the number one largest, deepest in Europe is the Terra. And so you've got the Terra River that goes through the Terra Canyon. And we were able to do a half day of white water rafting for $60, including a meal. So, that kind of experience at home, I don't think exists. But if you do travel a bit for that, you're definitely looking at least a couple $100 for that. So really accessible to be able to do some adventuring and some active type vacationing. We rented bikes one day and went to see the Steki, which is a pretty unique local um, burial style from the Middle Ages. And I'll share some photos at some point, but some really cool carved stones from the, probably at least 500 years ago. And, uh, you know, you could see the progression. Some of the stones had nothing other than just a shape to them. Some of them had some relief with, crosses or other basic designs. Some of them had really intricate borders, and you could see they kind of progressed. There was one that I thought was really cool where you could actually see a hunter hunting a deer, goat, something with a bow, and so that was a pretty neat image and a pretty neat piece of history, which I think, from what I've seen, this country does pretty well. Um, what else? Um, I guess I've spent a little bit more time than I'd hoped in the capital, Podgorica. There are some cool things there. There are some things that I wish were maybe done a little bit better. Um, the one thing up here on the mountain that I guess you don't really get a warning about that's a negative is this time of year at least a lot of flies, and fortunate that the flies don't like landing on you too much and biting you too much. I haven't gotten bit by any flies, but you definitely get swarmed by them a bit once you get up onto the trails. Down in the city, and even some places outside the city, kind of the one disappointment really is litter, trash on the side of the road, um, is in the fields. Sometimes you'll see dumpsters and they'll just have litter scattered about around them, and for who knows what reason. But there's definitely a fair amount of litter in this country that is kind of one of the main disappointments that I've had. That said, it does not overshadow how beautiful this country is, how the people are all very pleasant and helpful. Uh, Not everybody speaks English, but it's not one of those countries where English is really taught as a second language to everybody. I mean, you go to a lot of the countries, and especially the people who work in either tourism or kind of the professions, you're going to see a lot of people who are English speaking. And here, I would say maybe, I don't want to guess, but maybe 10% of the people that I've spoken with really can speak English conversationally. That said, that has not really been a barrier. Um, Even the people who do not speak any English at all are kind of willing to try to communicate with you. And so if there's something that you need, whether it's bathroom, or one of the things that I've had to do is buy SIM cards to be able to have data, which is what I'm using to talk to you now. And so, a lot of these folks who are selling these things, or, sometimes at restaurants, restaurants, I've had a little bit more luck with English, but, you know, just being able to mime and show people, oh, this is what I'm looking for, that, you can communicate and figure out how to get what you need. So that's been not as big of a barrier as a lot of people would think. And I think, like I said, that just goes to people um, being willing to help and being willing to try to communicate with you, and that's pretty nice. Um, what else? What questions do you have about Montenegro? Why did I choose Montenegro? Well, I guess when I when I knew I was going to come to Europe, and by the way, I did have a little bit of a side trip to Usling in Switzerland, which was amazing, and I can tell you all about that on another day if you have questions or want to know about that. But um, when I was looking at places to go, one of the places that popped up as a recommendation was Slovenia, which is not that far off. It was also formerly part of Yugoslavia. And so I dug into Slovenia. I said, yeah, this looks like an amazing place. And again, the places that I had considered staying, I snoozed and I lost. I um, didn't get things booked fast enough. And so the places that I was looking at that I thought were going to be great either were already booked or just didn't fit what I was looking for anymore. I looked at Croatia, where if I would have booked it in December, I could have a beautiful small apartment on the beach in Croatia, where I just walk out of my apartment down to the Adriatic Sea for, I want to say, $600 or $800 for the month, which can't really lose there. And it's supposed to be a beautiful place, but then the prices on that shot up. And as I read more, it was going to be a place where it was going to be packed with tourists. So I really just wanted to get someplace where that wasn't going to be the case. And one of the other things that I wanted to look for was, last year I got to visit Switzerland, and one of the amazing things was the cows that just kind of roam the mountains. And so you go hiking in the Alps, or the other mountains in Switzerland, and you just pass cows along the trail, and super friendly. You can scratch them right on the head, and they're just the happiest cows. And so I kind of wanted to look for something like that, in the Balkans, which is this region, it's the Balkans. And um, so this place fit the bill. There's cows out back, there's sheep next door, there's lakes that I can walk to. There's like I said, there's a mountain right behind me. There's nobody between me and the mountain. The mountain's right there behind me. Um, I've got amazing hosts that if I let them know the day before or the morning of, it will feed me reasonably. And when I say reasonably, I mean a reasonable cost, but the amount of food is not reasonable. It's far too much. I have tried to figure out how to communicate that I don't need that much food. I need a little bit less. I don't want to get, you know, I don't want them to stiff me on the food, but golly, the food, it's just, the first day that I sat down to breakfast, and my spread just for me covered half the table. And it was just like, wow, this is too much. And it's the charcuterie, and um, the breads and some really unique foods. Like they have Priganitsa is like these little fritters that they do for breakfast. You can get it with like honey or jam. They've got this meal. I can't remember what it's called, but they've got one where it's kind of like mac and cheese, except instead of mac, it's bread. So it's bread with milk and cheese, and that's really good. And yeah. So anyway, um, needless to say, I'm not going to keep you all here just listening to me talk all night. But if you have any questions about how to get dental care that maybe you don't think you can afford, or maybe you just want to get uh, what I think is good quality of care, in my experience, my anecdotal experience, um, for an affordable price. Like why would you spend $20,000 when you could spend, you know, $3,700? That doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of money. So, um, if you have questions about that, get in touch with me, and I can give you the information for, uh, even just to get a quote. The thing is, um, very simple. So the first time I contacted them, I said I'm looking to get some things done. They asked for a copy of my X-rays, which I had. I don't know if that's required, but I had it. I'd asked specifically for it because I knew I was going to do this. So I sent a copy of my X-rays, copy like a photo of my smile, and they said, "Yep." Um, well, actually, they sent it to the dentist immediately. The dentist said, "Yep, here's what we can do. We'll do this. We'll do this many days on this trip. We'll do this many days on this trip. The trips are 3 months apart." They gave me all the information, and all I had to do was send them a message on WhatsApp. Like I said, if you want the number, I'll happily give you the number. Just get in contact with me. And that was it. The rest is history. And I said, okay, that sounds good. How soon can we do it? And they said, we've got a holiday uh, this week, but um, we can squeeze you in the week before. So I was able to get it all done almost right away. I mean, it was a quick turnaround. Once I found out that they were going to do it, I got my flight booked, and I was gone within 2 days to go get this done. So I don't recommend that. I recommend that you plan this ahead and don't do what I did like a dummy. But um, don't think that you can't get dental work done. And if the if the cost of the flight is worrying you, um, don't worry about that either. I can't guarantee that you'll be able to kind of just swing it, but I can definitely point you in a direction to where you can find some easy ways to be able to afford that flight and to be able to do it, maybe without anything extra out of pocket even. Um, I well, without that much out of pocket extra, I should say. Um, that's it. If you have questions, feel free to shoot them my way. Send me a message, put it in the comments. I'll answer it for everybody. But if you have questions about how to find an Airbnb that you can afford, um, shoot me that, and I'll help put you in the right direction. If you have questions about, I don't know. I mean, anything from this trip. If you want to know, what's the best restaurant in Jablonec? How do you pronounce Jablonec? Jablonec. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that question. It's either Jablonec, Jablonec. Uh, it's hard, but I think it's Jablonec. And I've heard it pronounced several ways. I've heard many of these towns pronounced several ways. So this is not a lot of the sounds in this language are not common to me. But anyway, enough rambling from me. Thanks for checking in. I hope you all are doing well. One last thing, if you are still listening, you're a trooper. I should have probably led off with this other life update, and that is I am going to be on the ballot for Yates County Legislature for District 3. So that's primarily the town of Milo and little slivers of Benton and Jerusalem. But if you have questions about that, we will be talking about it a lot this fall, leading up to the election, which comes up on November 7th. So hopefully, if you live in Milo, you can support me. If you don't live in Milo, but you want to support me, you can get in contact with me and I'll let you know how you can help. Or you can let me know how you think you can help. But I'm looking to do some good things for Yates County. I really think that it's an amazing place, and I also think that it's a place that could be done a little bit better, and primarily just making sure that what we are doing with the county government serves the people the way that the people want to be served. So we can talk about all that, and I welcome your questions and I welcome your support. And I think we're going to have a fun time and getting this going. And I'm thrilled to have the opportunity and super thankful for all the people who helped sign the petitions and helped pass the petitions to get me on the ballot. And so, again, I will stop rambling. I can't wait to see you guys soon. I will be back in action in a couple weeks. I'm gonna hit the ground running with everything. I've booked this trip as long as I can, and when I get back, we're gonna be ramming. We're gonna be getting things done and doing things for everybody. So, with that, I'll say good night for me, good afternoon for you. I hope to hear from you. Like I said, send me your comments and I will answer any questions that you have. Take it easy.